Yo, what's up? It's Llama here with the No Drama Llama podcast. And this is episode 6, Why Sex? So, let's talk first. First off, we discuss how the Democratic Women's Caucus members sent a letter to Mr. Donald Trump and, one sec. I'm trying to see the dates and everything to that letter to Trump. I mean, I don't know. It's very interesting how it was all the females in the Democratic Party. It's 50 of them. So it was on January 31st of 2020. And in it, they wrote that how there was continued derogation of women in rhetoric and policies. So there were some of the quotes that said, you did a good job on her. Take her out. Get rid of her. Lock her up. Send her back. Nasty woman. Disgusting. Low IQ. Whack job. Grab them by the P word. Yeah, that's not really good. And he also said, I can do whatever I want. So basically, the rest of the argument describes how it's bad for the future of our country, for kids to see the president doing this, and there's no repercussions. So they think they can do it because the most powerful person in the world's doing this. And so, yeah, that's the one thing I think. I think we definitely need to. I think we need to address that for sure because. The goal for everybody should be to make the world a better place than you found it in. And so for us, we need to make sure we're doing that right. And that might involve maybe putting a filter on some of the comments he makes. And that's about it for that little segment. Let me check if I have anything else I want to put in here. But I don't think so. Let me check. Let's see. Oh, and also, Trump was very proud that he survived the 70s because of the STDs going around, and he said that was his own little war going on. Kind of crazy, but not really anything that's unexpected. I mean, kind of just bragging. It's kind of crazy to brag like that, but some people do it in different ways. I think it's really not appropriate for the president, but he does whatever he wants. So anyways, and we also looked at some emails that were sent to Hillary Clinton supporters from supposedly Trump supporters, and they called the guys who supported Hillary some very derogatory names, a lot of degrading feminist names that, kind of uncalled for, but politics are kind of like that. Sometimes it's just like that. So, I guess that's how you gotta let it go. Also, there's kind of a weird thing going now with guys and how they want to be controlled. So they don't want to think for themselves, which is kind of what has been associated with a feminist kind of trait. Guys don't want their women to be thinking too much, but they think this is manly because Trump's leading them. And it's kind of fascism. It's kind of like Hitler and the Germans supported the Jews, the Nazi army and everything. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of about it. And okay, so let's talk. Lastly, we watched the movie Why Sex. It's a PBS documentary. I'll try to link it down below for y'all. If y'all have not seen it, you look where I can. It'll probably be on something like Amazon Prime. But let's see, PBS Why Sex. Oh, actually, there's some YouTube videos, so I'll link the YouTube videos. A little bit easier to look through. But okay, so anyways. We talked about how most animals think sex isn't more important than life itself, which is true for most cases. I mean, they're just trying to reproduce so they can continue their life for their species. So yeah, and humans are kind of the same, where they would die for their children. But I mean, our primary objective, I would say, is not just to birth children. It's one of the big ones, but I don't think it's the most important. We saw some dudes gather some lizards, and they were some of the only animals, besides like very microscopic animals, that reproduce asexually. So there's two females that would reproduce, and the babies are identical to the mother. And yeah, it's kind of interesting. We talk about that a little bit later on, how that could lead to problems for some organisms and why they strayed away from it. But let's see, why do we need males? Like, why are males important to the species, especially humans? So one thing is, so why we don't need males? Let's see, why do we not need males? We don't need males because, I think women feel like, hey, we're the ones birthing them for the most part. We're the ones only giving 50% of the genes away. We don't get a whole 100%, and we're the ones usually watching them. So we're kind of getting janked out of this deal because guys aren't really doing too much for the kid. I mean, in some cases they're getting food for them, but that's about it. But yeah, I think that's basically the only argument for that. But why we need males? Evolution's a race, so whoever evolves the fastest is going to be the most dominant. So humans, I guess, evolved very nicely, our brains especially, and so that helped us dominate other animals. And so if you use sexual reproduction, animals create diversity, and it helps them to be different, have different mentalities, different I guess, tactics and stuff like that. And it makes it a lot easier for them not to get hunted all down, because if you have the same type of mechanisms, it only takes a little bit for the predator to figure out their prey's characteristics, and they would just be extinct. So yeah, definitely important. Now, inbred animals are easy prey, same with the asexual, because they are so similar and they have the same characteristics, like I just said. So it's a lot easier. So to sum that up, sex creates variability among the offspring, creating challenges for parasites, hunters, and increases the chances for survival, which is important for any animal. Definitely. I mean, you definitely want to just be able to survive, And we had this little animation that was in the movie, and it said it has cells long ago had males, and they were kind of, I don't know, they were trying to find males with different traits than them so they can create diversity with each other. And kind of just symbolism for how it just kept going and going, and that's basically it. It's kind of like an Adam and Eve type story, I would assume. So, yeah, that's about it. Let's see. Okay, so one thing when they talked about, big thing point in here, is how women are usually more choosy about the guys they want, rather than guys are more choosy about the women, because women are, for lack of a better term, a definite product, while men are indefinite product, meaning that women have a certain amount of eggs that they can use to produce children, and that usually lasts from about teenage years to 40s, 50s for humans, somewhere in there. But for males, it usually lasts from teenage years all the way through the rest of their life. Granted, some guys have problems, but for the most part, it should last that long. And so it makes it, they have unlimited amount. And also, I mean, women can only get pregnant once a month. Guys can produce sperm any time, for the most part, I guess I don't need to be teaching on that, but so We talked about how males are trying to attract females because of this, and we talked about the male peacock, which I have pretty much good experience with because I used to live on a farm, and yeah, they do try to flex their feathers all out, and the longer ones usually do. We had a pretty stupid one on our farm, so he kind of never got the women, but yeah, even though he was the only guy, but yeah, the most successful children are those that the fathers and mothers try to both take care of the baby, rather than the father just ditching or the mother just ditching. So it's called monogamy, and that's pretty big. We talked about how there was these birds that cheated so they can get the genetics of a more superior bird, and then they use the other guy to help raise the baby. So that's kind of weird, but yeah, I guess it works. For the most part, male and female roles are set, but not always. It depends on who's taking care of the young, for that species. The more ones that can protect is usually going to be the female. But yeah, that's about right. Chimpanzees, in chimpanzee community, all the males dominate. The females are bigger, they're faster, and all that type of stuff. Females really don't have rights; they kind of get destroyed. But on the opposite end, there's a bonobo, and the females dominate the men. And the thing about the bonobo is that when they meet somebody new, they have sex with them, and they find it pleasurable and all that. So kind of interesting, kind of weird how they have sex and everything very easily. They don't really care. Kind of weird, but it's all whatever. So one big argument about why sex is because it feels so good, and it's also because humans' case, over time we've tried to associate sex with good feelings because we're getting children. So that's one thing, it's just natural progression for that type of stuff. So, that's about it, right? Different smelling males. So smells for men is a big thing for women to choose from. We talked about how short-term relationship and long-term relationship, like, not goals, but not expectations, but characteristics for men. And we talked about how in the short term you're really gonna get macho man because you want to be, kind of be on the edge in a short-term relationship, but in a long-term relationship you want something more kind, maybe less attractive if you have to. You might have to suffer, but more caring for you. Ancestors pick their mates based on what they thought, and so they're gonna be the ones that chose kind of our they're kind of like our determinations, kind of in our genetics for what type of woman we like. So yeah. And lastly, sex is at the heart of variation, and that is definitely the truth of this. And thanks for watching this episode. This has been Llama here with the No Drama Llama podcast. This has been episode 6, Why Sex. Thanks, like and subscribe. Bye.